After completing my 1920s garden dress, I needed a slip to go underneath. Upon reviewing a number of sources, I ended up particularly liking a black and white contrast that I saw in quite a few 1920s ensembles. I decided to use a real silk chiffon that cost me $40 for just 1 yard. It was quite overwhelming to work with, as I had never worked with a fabric so slippery or transparent before. In this video, I will be reviewing the process of making a very common style of slip from this time period. This style has small sections of gathering at the dropped waistline to emphasize the popular silhouette of the time. It can be seen in many extant examples. I used a pattern that I found on Pinterest, but I have been unable to locate its original source material. As always, all my sources and helpful links will be included in the description. Okay, so it's time to cut my ridiculously expensive silk chiffon now. So because I'm obviously not able to mark this with my normal water-soluble pen ink things, I marked out each point with 2 crossing pins. So this is how I laid out the pattern. So at each point, like right here, right here, right here, right here, it has 2 pins crossed over. I'm planning to tear the silk because it tears nicely. That's how the edges, that's how they cut it at the fabric store, so I know it tears nicely. So that's what I'm planning to do so that I can ensure that everything is on the straight grain and that all my lines are even. So anyway, wish me luck. It didn't tear the way I wanted it to. It was a little touch and go there for a second, but it actually worked out fine. The next thing I'm going to do is hem the top and bottom. I might just hem the top, but I think it'll just be easier in the long run if I do that first. Then I'm going to French seam that every side going vertical, so that side and that side, then gather those, create a little slit, and then sew them into place. So hopefully it goes better from here. So I decided to use a rolled hem foot on the top and bottom edge, and I really have mixed feelings about this tool. Certain fabrics work really well, and others just get tangled and torn apart going through this. So if I had to recommend, I would say to use rolled hem feet only on kind of medium weight, easy to deal with fabrics like cotton and linen, or even, polyester blends or rayon blends that are just sort of a medium weight, non-slippery woven fabric. It was kind of difficult to use it on this chiffon. I didn't have any tearing, but it didn't go as smoothly as it probably would have if I would have just ironed the hem and then sewed it straight on. But it definitely does make the process go faster, so I think it's just about weighing the pros and cons of this tool for each particular fabric. After I had hemmed the top and bottom with the rolled hem foot, I moved on to French seaming the sides of the slit. I didn't show it in the best way here, so definitely don't consider this a tutorial, but the basic process for doing French seams is to sew the fabrics wrong sides together first, then flipping them so it's right sides together, ironing it, and sewing another seam about a 1/4 inch away from your original seam. That way all of the raw edges are encased in that first seam. There are a lot of tutorials on YouTube about how to do French seams that are probably much better than this, so I'll definitely link some of those down below. Okay, so everything's hemmed and that is sewn and that is sewn. This is still open right here, so the next thing I have to do is cut a little slit right in here, 2.5 inches. It's going to be terrifying. Then I have to gather this up into the slit, and that will be that. Once again, I marked the placement of the side cuts with pins instead of any other method because I found that easiest. And when I was actually cutting, I secured multiple other places around where I was going to cut so that the fabric wouldn't slip around too much. Gathering this fabric down proved to be a pretty big challenge. The main issues were that it's so slippery that it's hard to control, and it's also hard to feel how even the gathers are because it's so thin. The other major issue was that this fabric frays super easily. So if I were to do this again, I definitely would have put some fray check on the top before handling it so much so that I wouldn't have to worry about the fabric just unraveling before my eyes. Once I did get it gathered down, the basic process is to sew the gathers into a dart on the side of the slip. So it starts, the seam allowance starts at maybe a 1/4 inch and kind of slowly tapers down to nothing at the end of the gathered section. This way you don't get any weird kind of bunching at the end of this seam. Unfortunately, I either lost the footage or never filmed myself putting the straps on the slip. The process was pretty simple though. I just used 2 pieces of 1/4 inch black ribbon and pinned them where they sat on my shoulders nicely. That was the last step. I'm really happy I made the decision to invest the extra money to buy real silk chiffon because it drapes and moves so elegantly and it's so soft to the touch. I also think it adds a level of authenticity I wouldn't have gotten with a synthetic chiffon. Make sure to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to see my next video where I make the final part of this 1920s outfit, which is the bra and tap pants. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.